Hi, today we're going to talk about Chapter 9, Approaches to Small Group Leadership. We will examine types of leadership and some guidelines on how to be a successful leader. So we're looking at leadership from a communicative perspective. Northouse in 2007 called it a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. Another perspective on leadership comes from Hackman and Johnson in 2004 as a unique form of communicative behavior with three dominant themes. First, the leader has persuasive influence. Second, the group leader helps the group to set goals, build and maintain relations, and complete tasks. This is a view on leadership from a group perspective, as you understand. Third, the leader engages with each member of the group individually. So this one is not the entire group, but member by member. A leader cannot be successful without followers who agree on similar goals. So you can engage with the entire group, you can engage with each member individually, and you need to have an influence on each individual and the group as a whole. Being a leader versus sharing leadership are two approaches to the question of who leads a group. One view on that suggests that a member with competence in the task or relational area will take on the leadership role and keep that leadership as a shared function among other members of the group. And this is also how leaderless groups would operate. Sometimes the role can go from one person to another if it's a leaderless group, but very frequently the leader emerges and stays in that role. The second view on shared leadership is that it emerges from any interested and talented group member, and we're looking at shared leadership behavior or the behaviors of any group member who can enact in behavior that demonstrates leadership. Classic leadership approaches are, they start with the trait perspective, which means that we're viewing leadership skills as something that a person brings to the group rather than develops or demonstrates, something that's almost inevitable. And naturally, this is a very old perspective. It started in the 1920s with the great man theory of leadership. It takes a great person to become a leader. So you'll see the problem here. It's actually man. So it's very gender biased. The trait approach to leadership centers on the idea that people inherently possess characteristics of a leader. And remembering the traits in Chapter 3 will help us understand those characteristics. For example, if a person has high Machiavellianism traits, that person will more likely emerge as a leader. So there is some reason, there is some connection between personality traits and leadership behavior. And this remains a very old school approach to leadership because there are cases in which the dynamic is stronger than the incorporated traits. The style approach to leadership suggests that leaders implement different styles in task and relational dimensions. Those styles would influence group outcomes. So you will read about this in your textbook, the chapter that we're discussing. And also, I would suggest reading the case study very carefully because the authors draw on the case very strongly and explain some of those concepts on that example. The democratic style believes that group members should be involved in decision-making or problem-solving. Autocratic style is that group members need to be controlled. And the third one, laissez-faire style, believes that group members should function independently with very little direction or personal involvement from the leader. These three leadership styles are different in their perceived communicator style attributes. So you can go back to the style attributes and see which leadership style has which attributes. We could assume that a democratic leader is relaxed, animated, attentive, friendly as a communicator. Autocratic leaders will demonstrate dominant communicator style attributes, and laissez-faire leaders are perceived to use relaxed, attentive, and friendly communicator styles, as well as the democratic leaders, but maybe less animated, maybe less focused. So another approach to leadership is the situational approach. It rests on the idea that leadership behavior depends on various situations. This approach belongs to the area of organizational communication research. So in this part of the chapter, we will frequently encounter the word worker rather than group member, because workers are how organizational communication defines the individual. The idea of this approach is that effective leading requires different strategies depending on the type of individual, worker, or group. So we can say depending on the types of people who are in the group. Fiedler in 1978 introduced the contingency model of leadership as an attempt to identify factors that affect the types of power and the amount of influence each leader has over the individuals in the group. So you can read more about this, more nuanced. I'm just going over some highlights here to help you understand what parts will be important when we have a quiz on this chapter. And a few popular communication leadership approaches are brought up in the chapter as well. One of them is emergent leader approach. The emergent leader approach centers on what happens in a leaderless group. So someone would emerge as a leader, inevitably. In an ad hoc work group, a leader emerges as a result of consensual agreement in the perception of fellow group members. This was stated by Gershoff and Foti in 2003. So I'm mentioning the years so that you know how old or how new the research findings are, because with each year, each era, the perspectives are changing. They're becoming more developed. Hackman and Johnson in 2004 noticed 3 strategies to increase an individual's chances to emerge as a leader. First, participate from the very beginning. So if you're missing meetings or not fully there, busy with other things, daydreaming, you're not going to be a good leader. Second, engage in frequent and quality communication, not just to be a busybody, but to really engage and really help others solve problems, achieve goals. And third, demonstrate good character by respecting group members. So you need to win them over in order to be a good leader. The other approach is the counteractive influence approach to leadership, is when leadership emerges out of necessity, when the group encounters a problem or obstacles. They need various communication skills to counter what the group members have said or done. Let's say some of them are engaging in disruptive behavior or in negativity or in aggression or loafing. And second, it requires influencing members to resolve or remove the cause of the problem. So first of all, if there are people who are disrupting the group's work, you need to deal with them. And second, encourage the rest of the group to deal with the cause of the problem, to go to the root. So how to become a good leader? There are some guidelines, and again, I suggest that you read those in greater detail because I'm not going to be able to lecture on everything. First, strive towards engaging in competent group member communicative behaviors. So be competent, follow all the ins and outs, and engage in good communicative behavior. Set realistic and manageable goals for the group. Don't reach too high, don't reach too low, just the right goal. Foster a supportive communication climate. Watch the use of humor. Don't use humor against others, and don't ignore The power of humor, don't discourage humor. Sometimes you can make jokes at your own expense or neutral ones, but don't overdo that either, because then you will become a clown. And that's one of the characteristics that we discussed in the last chapter. So humor can be used successfully if it's done tastefully and with caution. Encourage orientation behaviors, examining the procedures the group uses. So orientational behaviors are when the group tries to understand and explain, answer questions, clear all confusion. Don't let people in the dark. Don't be afraid to ask a dumb question, clarification question. So examining your procedures is what we call orientational behavior. That way the members engage fully and they're part of the process rather than just sitting around and feeling left out. Number 6, set high standards for members' behaviors and create a code of conduct or a group charter. If the group is going to exist for a long time, it makes sense to have a code of conduct. And of course, sanctions against violators would be part of that. Number 7, obviously, foster creativity, encourage, reward creativity verbally or otherwise, and celebrate success. When something is achieved or done well, don't forget to say a couple of supportive words to mention the milestones that the group reaches. Sort of keep an eye on the big picture. And that way, celebrating success allows you to become a good leader. Okay, so the rest of the information you can read from the textbook. And as always, there will be a short quiz on this chapter. I will see you next time.